Welcome back to another episode of North of the Lake with your boy, Mon Rashawn. I got to admit to y'all, man, I'm very excited today. I'm trying to contain my excitement because those Saints got the win. We got the win. We look good. 47-10 over the Panthers, man. I'm getting ready to say black and gold to the Super Bowl. Everybody say it with me. Black and gold to the Super Bowl. Black and gold to the Super Bowl. Look, I'm trying to contain my excitement. I'm trying not to get ahead of myself, but Saints look good, man. But we're going to get right into things. Like I said, welcome in to everybody who's on Facebook, on YouTube. I'm still having problems with Twitter, now known as X, and I am streaming live on Instagram. So welcome in everybody to North of the Lake. This is season 2, episode 2. So first, we always got to shout out our Tangy guys in Louisiana football. This is Louisiana football week 1. So a lot went down on the North Shore. A lot of close games, a lot of unexpected things happen. I'm gonna wait till the scores get back around, but I am streaming on Facebook, YouTube. We having problems with X, and we are on Instagram. Shout out to everybody else on Instagram. There's a lot of my high school guys with Hammond High School, Amy with the Amy Warriors, all our Tangy guys. Shout out to you. I know a lot of y'all are on Instagram, and y'all make this platform. So I got to shout out y'all. I got to shout out Naomi Fitness and Coach Fleet. All the work that he does with the athletes here in Tangible Hope Parish. Shout out to you guys. It was a good week of football for Louisiana high school football, man. And I'm very excited, very, very, very excited for this season from what I've seen, some of the film that I watched. I got a chance to watch film with Hammond High versus Denham Springs. Hammond High did come up short, but I was impressed with some of the things that we see. We're going to get into that later. Make sure y'all share this live. Please share the live. Repost the live as well. Or if you're on Twitter, and once we get that back up and going, if you would like to support the platform, the Cash App is at the bottom of the screen. That's NOTL Podcast. Let's get into the scores. Kentwood over East Feliciana 46-28. Walker over Ponchatoula 43-14. Franklin over Amite 19-12. Jules Sumner gets the big win 30-0 over Salina. Pine over St. Thomas Aquinas 47-0. My Hammond High Tornadoes went down to Denham Springs 19-14. LaRondra 36-6 over Independence Tigers. Covington over Bugaloosa 48-6. Lake Shore beats Fountain Blue 34-14. St. Paul get the win over Live Oak. Shout out to Coach Maryland 48-14. Luxor over Slidell 28-12. Mandeville over Salmon 42-14. LSU gets the win over Nicholls 44-21. We got Southern over Savannah. We getting to college now. 42-10. Grambling gets the win 37-20. And Southeastern goes down to Southern Miss. And those Saints got the win, man. But shout out to all our guys in Tangy and on the North Shore with a great week of high school football. Shout out to you guys. And I got to bring my man in, none other than Coach Fleet to talk some Louisiana football. I have to bring my boy. Coach, how you doing, man?
How you doing, brother? I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Man, I'm blessed, man. Like I'm on an emotional high right now from them Saints. I'm trying to calm myself down. I'm trying not to start talking Super Bowl yet, Coach. So let's bring things down and let's talk some Tangy football, man. What did you see in Tangy football over this week?
Man, a couple teams got the dub, but a lot of teams on the road and got an L due to the weather, I want to say. See, my Toys went down there. We had a tough loss, man. Came out strong, but we had a lot of injury problems for that game, so we'll be healthy next week. Everybody fully padded.
Got you. Like I said, they had some wins. I think Kentwood got the big win. LaRondra got the big win. Also, shout out to those guys out there at Fountain Blue. Fountain Blue is one of my biggest supporters. Fountain Blue High School last year, man. They was very upset about some comments that were said on the platform. But speaking of our Hammond High Tornadoes, we got a player of the week. We are deeming Bryce Carter the player of the week. Let's watch a couple of his highlights and let's see what we see here. We got Bryce right here. And right here looks like Bryce is playing Mike. You can see him circled in the box right there, like he's playing Mike linebacker. Look how Bryce Carter reads and reacts to the football. Let's play this clip. Right here. Pause. Right here. You see he already got the play recognition and he already knows where the ball is going. Look at the angle he takes on this tackle. Nice play by number 21, Bryce Carter out of Hammond High School. Very, very talented player. We have another player right here. You see him in the middle playing Mike. I do believe that's Mike. Please don't quote me on that, but I'm not sure what defense. Here. We got Bryce in the middle, read and react. He sees the football, see ball, go get ball. Bryce Carter on the tackle, textbook, great angles from Bryce Carter, man. So shout out to Bryce Carter, coach.
Mm-hmm.
So what did you see when you went out there? You know, one of the things you told me was Bryce. That's the first name you brought up, man.
Man, Bryce was killing people out there, man. Like every time he made a play, man, it sounded off. So, man, if you didn't know who Bryce was, then you know who Bryce is now.
Shout out to Bryce Carter. Bryce Carter has been a member of Miami Fitness for quite some time now, so we had to shine some light on that, guys. And also to all our Tangent athletes, if you have highlights that you want to share with the platform, please send them over to my Instagram. That's NOTL Podcast on Instagram. I know a lot of you guys follow the page on Instagram, so make sure y'all send me y'all highlights so I can get y'all proper shine, man. And over, I've watched some film over the last day or so. What teams impressed? What teams that did you come away with impressed with from our Tangent guy?
I'm gonna say LaRondra, man. Like they better than what I thought they was, man. Like they real physical, man. I think they're gonna be they'll make some noise in 4A this year. They bet like what I like about they better on defense than I thought they was. They play pretty solid defense. They got pretty good guys that can play coverage. So look out for them in 4A this year.
Shout out to LaRondra Wolves, man. Shout out to the LaRondra Wolves getting that big win over Independence. And I went on and deemed them game of the week, LaRondra versus Independence, because of the history of that rivalry. They did get LaRondra did get the win 36-6 over Independence. Independence is in the rebuilding process right now. So shout out to Independence as well. But we are going to deem LaRondra Independence game of the week for historical purposes. And man, I'm very excited to see what's coming forward in the next week game. We got two Tangent powerhouses in Hammond versus Amy, coach. What's your take on that? Hammond versus Amy next week in Tornado Alley.
Man, like I say, Hammond gonna be healthy next week, so our quarterback be back. Everybody be back for Hammond next week, so everybody in the right position. So Amy had a problem moving the ball because of the weather conditions against Franklinton, and it kind of showed when they're at the line of scrimmage who had the better line. So we're gonna see if Amy can play that type of ball Friday.
Gotcha, and that's gonna be Hammond Amy is always the game to watch. Me and you both played at Hammond High School. That was the game that we really got up for. So I'm very anxious to see how Coach Buckle is gonna have them guys ready. By him being a former Amy Warrior, we always know what that type of emotion is. So I'm very excited to see what Coach Buckles and our Hammond High Tornadoes have in store for us next week. Give us a player that's gonna make a difference in the Hammond versus Amy game next week.
Broderick Peters, Bam. Go ahead and say Bam, man. I think Bam get more touches. Also, I see he got better on defense. Like, man, Bam gonna make some noise Friday. He's the secret to that sauce of that game.
Yeah, I watched that Denver Springs film, and Bam is a force, man. Not only on the offensive side of the ball, but on the defensive side of the ball. I seen him land some licks the other night against Denver Springs. So shout out to Broderick Peterson, Big Bam, man, who was another long time athlete of Miami Fitness, man. Look, coach, I'm gonna let you get out of here, man. Look, but I want you to stay tuned for a little later. We're gonna talk Colorado, man. Go ahead and handle your business, coach, and we'll get back with you, coach.
All right.
Got you, brother. That was Coach Fleet of Miami Fitness, our guy on Tangent Football. Shout out to Coach Fleet of Miami Fitness and all our Tangent athletes that has participated in the games this week. Like I said, all the scores are at the bottom. We got all the North Shore, most of the North Shore scores. If you don't see your team score at the bottom of the screen, please send me a DM. A lot of the kids has done it before, and they held me accountable. So I try to put as many scores at the bottom, but all the scores are at the bottom. It's this NOTL Sports Talk Live. This is season 2, episode 2. We are streaming on Facebook, YouTube. X is down right now, but we are on Instagram. Shout out to all our kids on Instagram. That seems to be their platform. So I made sure I stream on Instagram. Shout out to y'all. But all the scores are at the bottom of the screen. Now we have to talk about those LSU Tigers. I watched this game. I was waiting on this game based off what we seen last week. LSU went down last week against USC in the game they should have won. So I was really paying attention to this game to see how LSU was going to bounce back. And early on, Nicholls came to play. You know, shout out to the state of Louisiana and the football that's being played here. Nicholls came to play, and they played LSU hard. At one time, the score was 23-21 LSU. Nicholls was hanging right in there with LSU, man. And my takeaway from this game is LSU still has a lot to work on. I mean, Garrett Nussmeier looked very good. Garrett Nussmeier is one of the top quarterbacks in the country. But when it comes to our running game, LSU has no running game whatsoever. Let's turn to the stats here. Let's turn to the stats for LSU versus Nicholls. Nicholls is 0-2 on the year. LSU was 1-1 going into SEC play next week against South Carolina. Garrett Nussmeier was fantastic. 27-37, 302 yards. 6 touchdowns. I almost thought I was reading this wrong, but 6 touchdowns on the evening. Very impressive game by Garrett Nussmeier, 82 QBR. But with the problem with this LSU team is, can they run the football? 21 carries for 64 yards. 3 yards a carry. I mean, that's pedestrian at best, man. So LSU has to be able to find a running game. If LSU don't find a running game and find it fast, they're going to lose a lot of games in the SEC. You might can beat Nicholls that way. Hell, you should have beat USC that way. But you're not going to play SEC football teams and not have a running game. So LSU got to get it better, bro. LSU has to come better. It's just unacceptable at this point. And as I was watching this game, I start to feel that Les Miles feeling again. I start to feel like how Les Miles, during the Les Miles era, where we just couldn't just finish and we couldn't just be clicking on all cylinders. And it's like we always go away from our strength. And I started in the USC game, and I saw that also in the Nicholls game. It's not enough creativity in the run game for LSU right now. We got some talented running backs, Caleb Jackson, also Josh Williams, who seemed like he'd been here forever at LSU. And some bad news we got over the weekend was John Emery went down to a season-ending injury, man. John Emery could not catch a break, and that was one of the guys that LSU was going to have to lean on in that run game. But the run game right now is just not there for LSU. But LSU did take care of business 44-21 over Nicholls. They pulled away late. Kyron Lacey had a nice game. He had 5 receptions, 64 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Kyron Lacey is balling. Garrett Nussmeier is balling. But LSU's running game is still non-existent at this point. And that goes into my next topic is LSU running game a concern? And I'm going to go ahead and answer with a straightforward question. It's definitely a problem right now. LSU is supposed to have one of the better offensive lines in the country. And with a great offensive line should be a great running game. And I'm not saying that from LSU right now. Will Campbell is going to be a top 10 draft pick in the NFL draft, left tackle for LSU. And Emory Jones is up there. They're looking at Emory Jones going anywhere between first and the second round in some projections that I'm seeing. So LSU has to set the tone with that running game. LSU has been known to be a running school. LSU is known for running backs. So got to see more from the LSU running game. I'm just not seeing it right now. I'm just not seeing it right now. Like I said, once again, the running backs had 21 carries, 64 yards. And I don't believe we scored a touchdown on the ground last night. I don't believe we scored a touchdown. No touchdowns on the ground last night. That's 21 carries for 64 yards combined with all LSU rushes last night, which is just it's unacceptable for LSU. It's unacceptable when you playing Nicholls. I could see if we was playing Alabama or somebody or another SEC school, but 64 yards on the ground against Nicholls is unacceptable. And right now, the eyes have to be turning towards Brian Kelly right now. Because like I said, I'm starting to get that Les Miles feel again. It's like we're kind of outdated. We're not like LSU is not creative enough in the running game at all. You don't see anything creative. You don't see a lot of jet sweeps. I know it's Nicholls, but at the same time, LSU has to get some type of running identity at least. I know it's Nicholls, and I know it's week 2, but we're running out of time. LSU has a game next week against South Carolina, which I'm getting ready to get into in a minute, that it's not gonna be a give me. It's not gonna be a give me win. South Carolina played very well against Kentucky yesterday. I watched some of that game, and Kentucky could beat LSU on the right day. I'm not saying that Kentucky should be the favorite. I'm not saying LSU is not capable. I'm saying that they cannot walk into that stadium and think they just gonna get the win. It's just not gonna work like that. It's just not gonna work like that. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the chat. Let me see if I can see some of y'all comments on Facebook. I want to make sure I get some of y'all comments on Facebook this time around. Let me mute my screen right now, but I definitely want to get some of y'all guys' comments. Last week I did miss the comments, and I do apologize. So I'm trying to make sure I have the comments this week off of Facebook, also on YouTube and on Instagram. Shout out to everybody that's watching this live right now. We are talking, is LSU's running game a concern? And I do believe so. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the chat. Let me know. I want some feedback. How are y'all feeling about LSU this year? How is my listening audience feeling about LSU right now? If you don't catch this live right now, still leave a chat, still leave a comment in the chat, and I will still get with you, and I will still argue with you. I will still make my point. So don't feel bad if you didn't catch this live as soon as it was live. So y'all let me know what y'all think in the chat. LSU's running game is a major concern right now. Although there was some positives, like I said, Garrett Nussmeier may be one of the best quarterbacks in the country, which brings me to my next point. Just how good is Garrett Nussmeier? And I have the stats here. I even took some notes because I wanted to put this in context for you guys. I wanted to put this in context, so I made sure I got some stats. Right now for the season, Garrett Nussmeier has threw for 610 yards, 8 touchdowns to only 1 interception. One of the concerns that Garrett Nussmeier had going into the season, can he keep the turnovers to a minimum? So far, so good. Only 1 interception. That interception was kind of on desperation at the end of that USC game. So right now he's killing it, man. He got 6, like I said, almost closing in on 1,000 yards at 610 for the season, 8 touchdowns. Right now, Garrett Nussmeier is 10th in QBR in the country right now, through 2 games, you know. And right now, he has more touchdowns than Cam Ward from Miami, who's looking like a Heisman candidate right now. Also, he has more touchdowns than Carson Beck, who may be the first overall pick in the NFL draft. So good looking for Garrett Nussmeier right now. Garrett Nussmeier seems to be one of the only hopes that LSU have as far as making the college football playoff, as far as season and season goals and aspirations right now. So Garrett Nussmeier is looking good, but LSU has to find some type of running game to complement this, because how sustainable is it for Garrett Nussmeier to continue to play on this pace and to continue to make the throws that he's making? Even though the offensive line is giving him a lot of time in the passing game, the offensive line is holding up for Garrett Nussmeier. But that running game needs to complement him, and it needs to complement him fast, because LSU is getting ready to get into SEC play. You know, but like I said, Garrett Nussmeier, he is 10th in college football in QBR. He has more touchdowns than Cam Ward and Carson Beck. And they all have similar QBR. So not much difference between some of the top guys who a lot of the analysts have pretty much praised to be first round picks and Heisman finalists. So shout out to Garrett Nussmeier and the LSU Tigers. Nonetheless, they did get the win. They did get the win over Nicholls. Shout out to Louisiana football. LSU and Nicholls battled in Death Valley. And let me tell you something, man. Nicholls didn't make it easy on LSU at all. I mean, Nicholls came to play. So shout out to Nicholls and their head coach and how they just came in Death Valley with that type of confidence. You know, usually a lot of teams will lay down and not really have any hope or any type of aspirations to win the game. They just trying to do their best and get out of there and live the fight another day. Nicholls came to win it. Nicholls came to win it also. Shout out to Nicholls, man. It was an impressive performance on their part. So shout out to Nicholls. And I asked myself, you know, what takeaway did I have from this game? Like I said, we already discussed the running game. The running game was pedestrian. Like I said, 3 yards a carry, 61 yards on the ground. But the defense, the LSU defense, I felt like took a step back from week 1 to now. Defense definitely took a step back. I saw a lot of busted run plays. Not a whole lot through the air. We can read out what Nicholls' stats was. Nicholls quarterback Pat McGuire. I'm McGuade. I'm assuming that's how you pronounce it. He was 12 of 16, 113 yards. They had one touchdown. I think it was on a trick play. The running, but this is where I'm concerned. The LSU DBs looked a lot better on last night. I think they have the pass rush to kind of make up for some of the inefficiencies in the DB room. But where I'm concerned is how well Nicholls ran the ball against a Power 5 LSU team. I mean, they had 150 yards. Colin, I mean, they got some names over there, Nicholls. I don't even know how to pronounce this, but Colin, for Nicholls, that's his first name, had 25 carries for 144 yards, two touchdowns. I'm not a big fan of that. I'm not a big fan of a D2 school having a running back come in and rush for 145 yards. I'm not a big fan of that. I feel like LSU kind of, let their guard down on that end. But nonetheless, like I said, they still barely got to 300 yards of offense. We talking about Nicholls versus LSU. So LSU defense wasn't horrible, but I wanted to see them. I wanted to see a goose egg up there. I wanted to see Nicholls not even past the 50-yard line. I was looking for dominance. I'm not sure I'm not sure I got dominance out of LSU versus Nicholls. So that's going to be something to keep an eye on, is how well can this LSU defense play. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. I am checking comments on Facebook right now. So y'all let me know what y'all think about that. What y'all think about LSU Tigers? What do y'all think about those LSU Tigers? But those are my takeaways from the game. And another thing, another point I have to make is the play calling. Even though LSU scored 44 points on the night, the play calling still doesn't look smooth. It doesn't look smooth enough to be sustainable. Once you start facing better defenses, like let's be honest, USC is probably not going to be a top 50 defense this year. I mean, they look good at times, but had Garrett Nussmeier kept throwing the ball at the pace he was that game, and had the play calling not been kind of, lean more towards the running side of things, Garrett Nussmeier could have threw for at least 500 yards against USC. So that's the point I'm trying to make. I think the play calling has to get a lot better for LSU. I don't see a lot of creativity in the run game. I don't even see a lot of creativity at all, really. I mean, outside of Garrett Nussmeier making nice throws, but a lot of it's contested. And, once you start getting into SEC play, once you start facing better defenses with better pass rushers, with better DBs, I think LSU is going to be in trouble. And I'm not so sure how the rest of this season is going to go for the LSU Tigers. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the chat right now. But it's a lot of inconsistency in the play calling for LSU right now, which has me concerned going into this game against South Carolina. It has me concerned. South Carolina South Carolina is not the best team right now, but they did look good against South Carolina. They did look good against, South Carolina looked good against Kentucky. South Carolina did get the win 31-6 on the road against Kentucky. Like I said, I watched most of that game. And like I said, their quarterback, Sellers, he's not just going to blow you away. But he can escape and run the ball a little bit. I'm going to give y'all a quick story. I was playing South Carolina on NCAA 25, and Sellers was killing me. I'm not even going to lie. He was running it. He was throwing it. I mean, I couldn't stop it. I mean, South Carolina probably scored 50 points. I scored 60. I just outscored them. But South Carolina is a scary team right now. They are 2-0 right now. Like I said, their quarterback is capable. I'm not going to say he's going to win the Heisman or going to be All-American, but South Carolina quarterback is capable. That's all I'm going to say. And they can run the football decent, at least. And they always have a couple guys at South Carolina. South Carolina is one of those teams that produce some talent out there in that area. So this is a trap game for LSU. Next week against South Carolina, this is a trap game for LSU. If LSU comes out here and is pussyfooting around, I don't know. I don't know if we can make it out of this game. I don't know if LSU can make it out of this game if they come out there and play like they did against Matt Neese. These boys are serious. Like I said, this is SEC football, and they have to bring it. You have to bring it every week in the SEC, and LSU is very capable of doing so. But we just got to see. We got to see if the play calling could be more crisp. If everything can click if all things can click on one cylinder, it has to be the run game has to complement the passing game. And I have not seen that yet from LSU this season, even against Nicholls. So we'll see. We'll see. But like I said, LSU is playing South Carolina next week on the road. And we all know how loud South Carolina Stadium can get, especially when a team like LSU is coming in. Underrated place to play. Like I said, I had to play this game on NCAA. And the crowd was loud. I couldn't change my play. I mean, it was a close game. And we talking about on franchise mode. I forget what they call it on college. I think it's Dynasty, but that stadium was rocking, bro. I couldn't change my play, nothing. I mean, my receivers were running the wrong routes. So good luck, LSU. We're gonna see what LSU is gonna do. We're gonna see what they're gonna do going forward. But let me know what y'all think in the chat. Shout out to everybody in the chat right now. I see Matt Brown is watching. I see a couple more people is watching right now. Y'all leave me a comment in the chat. Let me know what y'all think. If I can't see the comments, I do apologize. I'm having trouble with that lately. So y'all forgive me, man, if I cannot see y'all comments in this chat. Y'all do forgive me. But thank y'all for tuning in. Let's see, Matt Brown said LSU is going to have to bring it. They get too loud. They get loud too. Yeah, man. Like South Carolina Stadium, bro. South Carolina, that's an underrated stadium. Like I said, Matt, I was playing them on NCAA 25, bro, and I couldn't stop South Carolina, bro. That quarterback was running. Man, what's his name again? Lenorius Sellers. I mean, he was killing me. He was running it. They was running that hurry up offense. I'm not so sure if that's the actual style of offense. But he was killing me, bro. I mean, good guy. I mean, the final score might have been like 60-45 or something like that. I couldn't stop him. So we're going to see how that's going to translate in real life, Matt. But that's one of the most underrated stadiums in the SEC, where that stadium that South Carolina plays, and they get loud up in there. They start jumping up and down. So LSU got their work cut out for them next week. LSU definitely got their work cut out for them next week. I see a lot of people are starting to tune in, so shout out to y'all. If y'all have a comment, please leave it on Facebook, on YouTube. Like I said, I will say that I have been having problems with my comments. So if I missed your comment, still leave the comment and I will get back with you after the live. And Matt is asking me what was the score of the Alabama game. I can tell you right now, Matt, if you give me a second here, I can tell you, brother. I know it was a tough game, man. They played USF. It was 42-16, but that score is misleading. I'm telling you now, that Alabama score is misleading. I was watching that game live, and in South Florida, man, South Florida could have beat Alabama. I mean, had they just stuck with their game plan, they would have kept making plays, but Alabama pulled away late. So Bama almost lost that game, man. That 42 to what was the score again? 42-16. That's a misleading score. That's a very Alabama got two. I think they got 2 touchdowns in the last 2 minutes that kind of blew the game away. But that game is very misleading, bro. I mean, I thought Bama was going to lose that game. I thought for sure they was going to lose that game. We had a lot of close games over the weekend that shouldn't have been close. Had a lot of close games that shouldn't have been close at all. Shout out to everybody that's in the chat. Shout out to Matt Brown. Shout out to Matt Brown. Matt, you should have came in a little earlier in the show. I was talking about our Hammer High Tornadoes, but they did catch the L on the road to Denham Springs. Our starting quarterback was out, but I think we will show up next week against Amy. That's Amy versus Hammond next week in Tornado Alley at 7 p.m. Make sure you be there for that one. That's going to be a good one. That's going to be a good game. That's going to be a good game. Like I said, for everybody who just tuned in, the scores are at the bottom of the screen. The Saints got that dub today, man. Shout out to the Saints and Derek Carr and Dennis Allen. Things are looking bright, but we're gonna say that for last. We're gonna say the Saints for last because if you came in at the beginning of the show, I was screaming black and gold Super Bowl, so I'm trying to calm myself down and come back to earth a little bit after that 47-10 win against the Carolina Panthers, man. So I'm trying to calm myself down. We got Matt Brown in the chat. Matt says, damn, they turn up in the end. Do Hammond High play Amy? Yeah, Hammond High play Amy next week, Matt. Make sure you be there, man. Let's represent 5 Hammond High Tornadoes. Matt Brown said, how our defense looking? If you're talking about Hammond High, bro, I think Hammond High has one of the best defenses in the state this year. Like I said, our quarterback was down this week. Our starting quarterback, TJ Jones, did go down, Matt Brown. Shout out to Matt Brown that's in the chat right now. But defense looked elite. It kind of looked like how we was playing defense when we was there, bro. They flying around. They got some guys that can cover. Big 99, Big Baby is, man, he got to be one of the best defensive tackles in the state. Shout out to Big Baby for Hammond High School, number 99. I mean, he is a force. He is a force to be reckoned with, Matt. So shout out to Matt that's in the chat. I see my boy Corey Webb coming in the building right now. Shout out to everybody that's watching this live right now. But I have to talk about Deion Sanders and those Colorado Buffaloes. Coach Prime in Colorado. The madness got to stop, okay? The media madness around Coach Prime has to stop. And this is why I say this. What's up, Corey Webb? I see Corey Webb in the chat. Shout out to everybody that's in the chat. I just switched gears. We talking Colorado and Coach Prime right now. The reason why I say this, I've been watching and admiring Deion Sanders. Like I said, I played corner in high school. Deion Sanders is one of my idols. I watched a lot of tape on Deion. I'm one of the biggest fans of Deion Sanders that they probably got, especially pre-coaching career Deion Sanders at least. As a player, I want to go ahead and get this out right now. I respect Deion Sanders. I'm a big fan of Deion Sanders as a player, but we got to talk about Deion Sanders as a coach. We have to talk about Deion Sanders as a coach. As you know, Deion Sanders accepted the job at Jackson State in 2020 during the pandemic. In his first season, I think because of COVID, he was 4-3. They didn't play as many games. It was his first season. He just started getting his talent in. In his first season in 2020, Deion Sanders was 4-3, 3-2 in the SWAC. Nobody's blaming him for that. That's his first season at Jackson State. But when Deion got to Jackson State, he kind of came as a savior figure, and which he had a lot of people excited by HBCUs and everything. But we got to talk about Deion as a coach. We all know how great Deion was as a player. We all know that. Nobody's doubting that, the greatest cornerback ever. But we got to talk about him as a coach. And let me backtrack for a minute. All right. So if you didn't know, the Nebraska Cornhuskers beat the Coach Prime in Colorado 28-10 over the weekend. I watched most of that game. I was flipping between the LSU game and that game. And the reason why I bring this question up, because I don't see anybody in the national media that's willing to criticize Coach Prime. Like I said, I just told you how much I admire Coach Prime. I told you that he's the best cornerback of all time, in my opinion. But we got to unpack Coach Prime as a coach, because I don't see anybody in the national media who's willing to criticize Deion Sanders. Let's go back to what he did at Jackson State. 2021, he led Jackson State to 11-2 record. Impressive. But let's bring this in perspective, right? If I'm not mistaken, in 2021 and 2022, Jackson State had a top 50 recruiting class. Top 50 in the whole. I'm not talking about just in the SWAC. I'm not talking about in D2 football. I'm talking about in all of college football. Deion Sanders had a top 50 recruiting class 2 years at Jackson State and could not win the Celebration Bowl one time against North Carolina A&T. Couldn't win the Celebration Bowl one time because Jackson State faced North Carolina A&T two years in a row in the Celebration Bowl. Could not pull that off with a top 50 recruiting class. So we all know that we was all excited about him being at the HBCU. He said he was there to level the playing field, but I feel like Deion never did that. And I seen him start to criticize HBCUs and start saying certain things about HBCUs. They not this, they not that. But if you was going to level the playing field, and I'm not gonna beat up on Dion, but I got to make this point. I have to make this point. And shout out to everybody that's in the comments. Shout out to everybody that's in the comments. I'm gonna get to your comments, but I need to make this point. But if you're gonna level the playing field, then you got to know where that playing field was. So you can't get to a place and say, well, they doing this, they doing that, if you're trying to help, right? Because you got to see the problem, know the problem, and improve the problem. But I saw a lot of criticism coming out of Coach Prime's mouth about HBCUs, how they wasn't financially responsible, which we all know that. We all have kids that went to HBCUs. We have family that went to HBCUs. We understand the challenges that HBCUs have. We all understand that. We understand the challenges that HBCUs have. But this is my problem with Coach Prime. It's a lot of talk, right? It's a lot of talk. So that's okay. In 2022, he went 12-1, won the SWAC once again in 2022 with a top 50 recruiting class and lost again in the Celebration Bowl to North Carolina A&T. Here's my problem. I've been watching Dion, how he treats the media. He's very arrogant in those press conferences. It's like when a reporter asks him a question, he won't even let the reporter answer the question before he interrupts them. It's just a lot of cockiness for nothing. You know, you can look at what he did at Jackson State, but you talk about an even playing field, a level the playing field. Jackson State had a top 50 recruiting class, and he couldn't win the Celebration Bowl as a coach. We are talking about Deion Sanders as the coach, not as the player. We all know what Deion was as a player. I respect him as a player. He's one of my favorite players of all time. One of the greatest athletes of all time next to LeBron James, in my opinion. I'm talking about pure athletes. That LeBron, I'm going to leave that LeBron conversation alone. We'll discuss that another day. But I'm talking about Coach Prime as a coach. What has Coach Prime done as a coach? I understand. I see Corey Webb say it's because of the man name. Corey Webb, I'm in agreement with you on there, and I understand it. But now it's to the point. Okay, let's move forward. 2023, he gets the job at Colorado, which I think last year in 2023, I think the 2023 Colorado team is better than this year's team. Colorado came out the gate. They surprised TCU, who had just came out of a national championship game, losing to Georgia. They beat TCU first week of the game of the season. Everybody goes crazy. The media is all over them. They this, they that. And I understand it as Coach Prime. We all want to see it. Like I said, I love Coach Prime, but it's just getting to the point. There's a certain arrogance that's taking place with Coach Prime that nobody in the national media is willing to call it out. And I'm gonna call BS because I feel like he really only cares about his two sons and Travis Hunter. I mean, that's all I hear him talk about. We got to protect my son. We got to do this to my son, because he called Travis Hunter his son too. My son's this, my son's that. And I just wonder, as a former football player, if I was on a team and a coach was using that type of singular language. I mean, you already the head coach, and your son is the quarterback. Like, we all played on little league teams where the coach's son was the quarterback, and we all know how we felt about that. A lot of times, you thought it's nepotism. You thought that they may be getting certain type of privileges and everything for that. So I'm starting to question Coach Prime's motives. Are you doing this for your brand and for your son's brand, or are you doing this to better young men's lives? And don't get me wrong, Coach Prime is doing a lot of great things for those young men. I seen that he set up an account for single fathers. Awesome. I'm talking about as a head coach. What troubled me the other day, that last game against North Dakota State, they almost lost that game. If you saw Colorado versus North Carolina State, I'm sorry, not North Carolina State, against North Dakota State, they almost lost that game. They for sure almost lost that game against North Dakota State. And do you know what Coach Prime said to the media? The first words out of his mouth, he said this was one of the highest rated games in the history of ESPN or whatever network it was on. He said this was the highest rated game. He talked about how many followers one of the players got on his team after that game. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, did he even watch the film? Or did he watch what happened in that North Dakota State game? North Dakota State could have easily beat Colorado. And we seen what happened in Nebraska. I think that goes back to what Oregon coach Dan Lannon had said last year when they played Oregon. Are you playing for clicks and likes, or what are you playing for? If you trying to better these young men in life, then don't string them along. Because I'm starting to think this is just a big PR stunt. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. I'm not trying to beat up on Coach Prime, but I feel like nobody in the national media is willing to critique him at all. I mean, if y'all think that I'm hating or anything, let me know. I'm really not trying to beat up on another black man. I really love the image of him being a coach and how he can be himself. If I gotta say some of the negatives, I gotta say some of the positives. I think he's a great mentor, but is he a great football coach? That's the question I have right now. Is Coach Prime? Let me know what y'all think in the chat. Matt Brown said he did turn them up though, and he did turn them up because he's Deion Sanders. He is probably one of the most popular people on the planet. I mean, he got that Michael Jackson type of star power. He got that LeBron James type of star power, that Taylor Swift type of star power. Like, of course, if LeBron go coach, I don't know, Ohio State basketball team, or if LeBron retires and becomes the Laker coach or whoever coach, all eyes gonna be on that team too. So let's not confuse star power with being a great football coach, is what I'm trying to say. And I'm going to the comments. Corey Wells said, but I think when he left, a lot of them left too. Elaborate a little bit more on that, Webb. I want to know what you mean by that, because I've been watching, and it's getting concerning with me, because it's not all Coach Prime's fault. It's not all his fault with the national media attention and everything, but it's the way he's going about doing things. The way he acts in some of these press conferences is like he's Nick Saban, like he done won 6 or 7 national championships. We all know he won a couple. I know he won one with San Francisco, and I know he won one with the Cowboys. You're talking about NFL championships, Super Bowls. But we are talking about Deion as a coach. Let's get all this stuff out about him being Deion Sanders, the football player. We are strictly talking about Deion Sanders as a football coach, and I'm just not seeing. I'm not seeing a coach that can put together a football team. Shadur Sanders was running for his life last night. Shadur Sanders didn't even finish that game because he was taking so many hits. You know, a lot of guys came in the transfer portal, so a lot of people thought that Shadur would be better protected this year, but this team looks worse than last year's team. Last year's team had explosive players. I don't see any explosiveness. The defense is still horrible. The play calling has got worse. And if you remember last year, Coach Prime dismissed that last offensive coordinator, and he went and got a head coaching job the next week. I think he's coaching at San Diego State, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on that. But the play calling seemed better last year with the last OC. You bring in, I think, Pat Sherman, if I'm not mistaken, who was an NFL guy. The offense looks boring. It looks old school. So can he put together a roster? Can he put together a coaching staff? Because I'm not seeing a great coach right now. I'm seeing a guy who's emotional, doing press conferences. I'm just calling like I see it. I'm not trying to beat up on Coach Prime, but I feel like nobody in the national media is holding Coach Prime accountable right now. So let's go to the comments. I see my boy Corey Webb. Jackson State, once he got there, they came running, but when he left, that transfer portal was hot too. And that's one of my points. You know, Coach Prime said that at Jackson State, he wanted to level the playing field at HBCUs. Well, if you're going to level the playing field, you can't get all these players to come to Jackson State. And then when you decide to go to California, I said California. When you decide to go to California, I still said California, Colorado. When you decide to go to Colorado, you take all those players from Jackson State with you. So are you really for HBCUs, or are you just for Coach Prime and your sons? Because I truly feel like this was a move to try to get Shadur the Heisman get him more favorable in NFL scouts, mindsets, or see him on a bigger stage. I feel like this is more about Prime and his sons than Prime and these young men. And I'm not saying that he's not doing great things. I'm not saying he hasn't brought attention to Colorado, which we all know he has done. But as a head coach, he has done nothing to be as arrogant as he is as a head coach. He has done nothing to get the attention that he's getting as a head coach, because there's other great teams out there. Look at the brother from NIU that beat Notre Dame. I can't call that brother's name right now, but NIU took down Notre Dame, but that brother ain't getting no attention. What win does Coach Prime have in his college coaching career that you can say he's a great coach? What win? Like I said, in the Celebration Bowl against North Carolina A&T, he couldn't find a way to win. And like I said, Jackson State had top 50 recruiting classes in the country, not just in the SWAC, not just on the D2 level, in the country. So you were supposed to go roll over Southern. You were supposed to roll over FAMU. You were supposed to roll over Grambling, but you couldn't beat North Carolina A&T. That's all I'm saying. I think everybody needs to pipe down on the Coach Prime bandwagon, because a lot of y'all got on that bandwagon. And if you go back to my first lives I ever did, I told everybody after that TCU game, pump the brakes on Coach Prime. I know y'all like him. I like him too. I love Coach Prime. I love him as like I told you, he's one of my favorite players of all time. I watched a lot of tape on Coach Prime. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm not hating. I'm just calling an ace, a spade, a spade. What has Coach Prime done as a head coach that has people thinking that he can go coach the Cowboys? I want to know. I mean, y'all let me know in the chat. Please let me know in the chat. I don't know why I usually can put my comments on the screen, but I have to get with this streaming service and see why the comments is not working. I used to can put the comments at the bottom of the screen, but I do apologize. If I see y'all comments on Facebook, I will read them. So thank y'all for the comments, but I had to get this off my chest because I knew going into this Nebraska game that I seen Nebraska play the week before they played Colorado, and I knew Colorado was going to lose big in this game. And to be honest, it was never close. I mean, Nebraska looks like they improved. They came out there and put that whooping on them. Like I said, now Shadur Sanders I think Shadur Sanders is a first-round quarterback. I think he is awesome. I think he is talented. But I think his father, Coach Prime did Shadur a disservice by bringing him to Colorado. When Coach Prime left Jackson State, he should have let Shadur go to a top Power 5 school. He could have won a Heisman. He could have won a national championship. He is that talented as a player. So I think he did Travis Hunter a disservice. I think he did Shadur Sanders a disservice. They could have went to a top program like Florida State. Look at Florida State's situation right now. DJ Ugovaloa, whatever his name is, can't throw a rock in the ocean. So you think they'd be better with DJ Ugovaloa or whatever his name is or Shadur Sanders? So I think Coach Prime did his son and Travis Hunter a disservice by bringing them to Colorado. They getting beat to hell. Travis Hunter is playing like 100 snaps a game. I can't go out there in my yard right now and run 100 sprints. So how this man is the real deal. Holyfield. If he can go out there and play 100 snaps a game, go try it. I want y'all to go try right now to play flag football for a half and come back. I'm talking about all the people that ain't played in a while. I ain't talking about y'all guys in the high school and in college right now who's still in shape. I'm talking about anybody on this live right now. I want you to go try to do one half of a flag football game and get back to me. Get back to me. I just think Coach Prime has done these guys a disservice. I'm not so sure how serious he is about coaching. I think it's more about his brand. And let's be honest, it's working. His net worth has probably tripled since he took that job at Jackson State. And had he stayed at Jackson State, Coach Prime could have stayed at Jackson State and been a martyr. He could have been the greatest. He could have been up there with the Martin Luther Kings and all in the Harry Belafontes, and he could have been up there had he stayed and finished what he tried to start at HBCUs. I think that was his calling, and I think he missed it. Because when the last time you heard somebody talk about HBCUs? Now, I'm an HBCU fan because most of my family graduated from Southern. So I will be at the Bayou Classic like I am most years. But had he stayed at HBCUs and finished that job, we may be looking at him like a Martin Luther King type of figure because he was getting those guys to come to HBCUs. Not yet Colorado over here. They might not win 5 games this year from what I've seen. They can't protect Shador. Travis Hunter is still balling. Travis Hunter had still a pretty good game. I mean, Travis Hunter's balling. Travis Hunter had him 10 receptions, 110 yards. Travis Hunter gonna ball. He is the real deal. But I think Coach Prime has done a disservice to these young men. Had he been serious about the futures of his son and Travis Hunter, I think he would have let them go to a better structured Power 5 program like Georgia, like a LSU, like some of the top programs, Ohio State. I think if he was real serious about the future of his son, because it don't look like Shador gonna make it to the end of the season with that offensive line. I mean, did y'all watch this game? I felt bad for Shador. And I know a man gonna follow whatever his father do. I understand. If my dad go coach somewhere right now, it'll be hard for me not to go play for him. I know, I understand. I'm just saying, but I would think my dad would tell me, well, son, look, you got a better opportunity over here at Florida State. They got great coaching. They got a better offensive line who can protect you. They got a defense that can stop somebody. You might can win the Heisman Trophy over here at Florida State, but you're not going to do it at Colorado because we don't have an offensive line. Our defense can't stop a cold in the summertime. That's all I'm saying. I don't want to spend too much time on this topic because I don't want to seem like I'm beating up on Coach Prime because I love the man. I wanted to see him do the work at an HBCU. We all was excited about that. And all the excitement around HBCUs has died down since then. And I think Coach Prime was creating a movement. They had some of the top athletes in the country going to HBCUs who are underfunded. The football program is the cash cow on every university, even on the high school level. Football makes all the money for most of these universities. The rest of it is coming from state taxes and federal grants and all this type of stuff. Football brings in the most money on almost every campus from high school to college. That's all I'm saying. I'm not going to spend much more time on this, but let me know what y'all think in the chat. I see Miss Siltonese McCraney come in here on this topic. And Miss McCraney, I am talking about Coach Prime and his coaching history. We all know him as a player, but I was making the point about him leaving the HBCU, going to Colorado. Now he's struggling. So my point is, we all love him as a coach, but what has he done we all love him as a player, but what has he done as a coach? He left Jackson State high and dry. Took the players with him, and now nobody's focusing on HBCUs no more. Everybody's tuning in to see Colorado get dog whooped by Nebraska. Can't protect his son. Can't protect Travis Hunter. These guys are getting banged up. So that's the point I want to make. I didn't want to spend too much time on Coach Prime because I don't want to seem like I'm beating up on another black man. But I feel like the national media is not criticizing him at all on his coaching career. We all know what he was as a player. We all know he was a baseball player. We all know he's one of the greatest athletes of all time. But when it comes to him as a coach, what has he done? I'm going to read his record out one more time, and I'm going to let this subject go. First year at Jackson State, he was 4-3 during the pandemic. Next year, he turned it around 11-2. 2022, 12-1. But let's keep in mind, he had a top 50 recruiting class in the country. I'm talking about right up there with LSU and the Floridas and all these top programs in the country. I'm not talking about just in the SWAC for anybody who's joining me. Coach Prime had a top recruiting class at Jackson State in the country. Top 50 in the country. I ain't talking about just amongst Southern and Graham. I'm talking about up there with Alabama and LSU, Florida, Georgia. So he was supposed to win at Jackson State, but he couldn't even win the Celebration Bowl against North Carolina A&T. No disrespect to them. That's all I'm saying. The national media is not willing to criticize this man. He has been very snobbish in these press conferences. He disrespects the reporters. I understand they're going to write something that you don't like, but you the head coach. It starts at the head. So you got to set the example for these young men. What if they write something about one of these young men and they respond to one of these reporters? That's going to be on you because they see what they coach have done. Let's read the comments from Miss Siltonese. Him as a coach, he put the right people in place. He is not a coach, but he is a businessman. That's Miss Siltonese. I agree. That's the point I've been making for the last probably 15 minutes now about Coach Prime. I think it's more about his brand than him actually being a coach. I think it's more about getting his sons set up with their brands. I seen a commercial today. I can't remember what commercial it was, but it was Dion and Shador. They was pretty much just on a commercial, all iced out like they used to be. No problem with that. I ain't no hater, but who's getting it? Who's really benefiting from this besides him and his sons? Let's be honest. And Travis Hunter, who he calls his other son. Who's really benefiting this? Did HBCUs benefit? To some extent. Could it have been better? Yes. Like I said before, I think his calling was with HBCUs, but yesterday they could not protect Shedeur Sanders at all. I feel bad for Shedeur Sanders. But like I said, I don't want to beat up on Coach Prime. I just wanted to do some constructive criticism because I feel like the national media is not willing to constructive criticism to critique Coach Prime. So I just wanted to get y'all opinion on that. Shout out to everybody that's in the chat right now. Like I said, I still think Shedeur is one of the best quarterbacks in the country, but it's hard to sit there and watch that brother get beat up like that. Would he been better at Florida State? I think if Coach Prime has the best intentions for his son, he would have let him go to a better program. They beating that man up. I mean, I think he had it looked like he had a concussion at the end of that game. Like I know the backup quarterback finished that game. So, I'm not gonna spend too much more time on that. But shout out to Coach Prime. Like I said, I'm still rooting for him. This is no hate. This is no type of jealousy or envy or anything like that. It's just concern. It's really just concern about the young men that transferred to Colorado and wanted to be a part of that. And I think it was more of the media frenzy, but just X's and O's and what you see on TV, it just doesn't look good, man. And like I said, I just had to get that off my chest. But let me know what y'all think in the chat. Thank everybody who is live right now. Shout out to Coach Buckles. I see coaches in the building. Shout out to Leland Jackson. Shout out to Ray Ledbetter. Shout out to Miss McCraney. Everybody that's in the chat right now. I wish I could put it on the screen, but for some reason I'm having technical difficulties. So y'all bear with me as we get ready to switch topics. How about them Saints? How about them Saints? I've been waiting to talk about this. If y'all came in at the beginning of this live, I was screaming black and gold to the Super Bowl. I got beside myself. I always do this every year, y'all, when the Saints go out there and just perform. But let's keep it in context. It was the Carolina Panthers, but a win is a win. And let's get started with this. Derek Carr looked flawless. Derek Carr threw the ball with efficiency. He was 19 of 23, 200 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, no turnovers. Alvin Kamara looks like he's Alvin Kamara again. That running game was serious. Shout out to Clint Kubiak, who's the new offensive coordinator for the New Orleans Saints. They look good, man. That looked like the Sean Payton. It even looked better than Sean Payton. And I'm hesitant to say that because we all know what Sean Payton was and what he did, but it looked like the Sean Payton offense again, but with a little tweak. On the ground, the Saints ran for 180 yards. I mean, Taysom Hill got involved. Jamal Williams finally is impacting this team on the running game. Taysom Hill still Taysom Hill. I'm excited about this Saints team, y'all. I'm not gonna lie. First drive of the game, Derek Carr hits Shaheed 59 yards for a touchdown. Shaheed 3 receptions, 73 yards, a touchdown. This team looks good, y'all. I'm trying not to. Let me know what y'all think in the chat. Let me know what y'all think in the chat about these New Orleans Saints. Shout out to Miss Siltonese McCraney. She said, "Did I miss your Southern University commentary?" I got the score at the bottom. I didn't get into Southern because it's a little harder for me to find their footage. So I don't want to get over here and start lying like I don't watch the game and everything, Miss McCrane. So I'm not. But shout out to the Southern Jaguars. But they did go down to Southern. I think it was, who did they play? I'm not even sure now. But I think Southern. I'm not sure what the Southern win and lose. Let me know. It's at the bottom. I know it's at the bottom of the screen. Shout out to Southern. But right now we are talking Saints dominating those Panthers, man. I'm impressed. I am impressed, y'all. This looked like a Super Bowl caliber team. We all know Dennis Allen gonna bring the defense. We all know that. We all know Dennis Allen gonna bring that D and pause, but pause. But the defense looked good. I mean, defensive line getting penetration. Poor Bryce Young. Poor Bryce Young, y'all. Bryce Young just looks small. I mean, he looks unprepared. He looks shaken. Like, I remember in last year's draft when the Carolina Panthers selected Bryce Young over CJ Stroud. I was concerned. I was like, did they not watch that game against when Ohio State played Georgia in that championship game? They must have didn't watch that game. But CJ Stroud was the best player on the field, and Georgia had some talent. He was the best player on the field. It wasn't even close. And the Carolina Panthers go out there and select Bryce Young, first pick overall. And I knew they made a mistake. But for the sake of the New Orleans Saints, as a Saints fan, I was ecstatic. I said, yes, we dodged the bullet. I knew we had dodged the bullet when the Carolina Panthers took Bryce Young with the #1 overall pick. I knew they had made a mistake. Oh, by the way, shout out to the Southern Jaguars. They did beat Savannah State. Shout out to the Southern Jaguars. They did beat Savannah State. Shout out to HBCUs everywhere. Shout out to my teacher, Miss McCraney, who is a graduate of Southern University right now. So shout out to her in the chat right now. Shout out to everybody who's watching right now in the chat. Shout out to you. Thank you for supporting the platform. But did y'all see that Saints game? Did you see it? Did you see it, man? I'm trying not to get ahead of myself. I promise y'all, I'm trying not to get ahead of myself. I think we're going to the Super Bowl. I think we're going to the Super Bowl, y'all. I'm going to go ahead and say it. I think we're going to the Super Bowl. And I'm trying not to get ahead of myself. I promise you, I'm trying not to get ahead of myself, but I think we're going to the Super Bowl. You heard it here first. North of the Lake with your boy, Money Man. I think we're going to the Super Bowl, y'all. Did y'all see Derek Carr? I've been critical of Derek Carr. I think every Saints fan has been critical of Derek Carr. But this new offense with Clint Kubiak, it looks good. I mean, it was flawless. It was that Drew Brees and Sean Payton type of flawless that we ain't seen in a while. You know what I'm saying? It was that type of flawless. It was that type of flawless where it just, I didn't see a mistake we made all morning. I mean, it is the Carolina Panthers, but they got a decent defense. It's not like we went out there and played against air to score 47 points. Alvin Kamara looks like he's back in Pro Bowl form. Jawan Johnson had a sighting. Foster Moreau, former LSU Tiger. He catching that thing. He toe tapping in the back of the end zone. Shaheed is balling. Chris Olave was balling. I don't know. Am I getting ahead of myself? Y'all let me know what y'all think in the chat. Let me know what y'all think in the chat. Am I getting ahead of myself? Let me know what y'all think in the chat. Man, I don't know. I'm excited. I'm excited about these New Orleans Saints. I'm excited. If I had to give a prediction, I think we like a 12-5 team this year. I think, you know, I announced our schedule. Let's look at the schedule for the New Orleans Saints going forward. Okay. Let's look at the schedule. So, Saints have the Cowboys next. I thought that would be a primetime game, but it's not. Saints have the Cowboys at 12 next week. I think we can beat the Cowboys. Going to be the Cowboys. Let's be honest. Anybody can beat the Cowboys on any given Sunday. That game don't scare me so much, but the next game does. The Saints play the Eagles right after that. The week after that, then we go to the Falcons. The Falcons look terrible. I thought the Falcons might have been one of the top 5 teams in the league based off their roster. Falcons look horrible. They lost to to the Steelers 18-10. I saw some of that. They look horrible. Kirk Cousins, like Shannon Sharp said, he's second cousins. He's not first cousins. He's not first cousins. Falcons look horrible. But then we got that man. Right after the Falcons, we got that man. Saints gonna be at the Chiefs. I'm gonna chalk that up as a loss right now. I respect Patrick Mahomes enough, and I seen what he has done to chalk that up as a loss for the Saints. That's a loss. We're not beating the Chiefs. I'm sorry. If we beat the Chiefs, if the Saints beat the Chiefs, we're going to the Super Bowl. Saints going to the Super Bowl. If the Saints beat the Chiefs, I'm punching a ticket. I'm gonna be in New Orleans. I don't care if I gotta take out a second mortgage on the house. I'm gonna be at that Super Bowl in New Orleans. Saints go to Super Bowl, I'm gonna find a way to get there. If the Saints beat the Chiefs on October the 7th, Saints going to Super Bowl. I'm taking out a second mortgage. Telling you right now. Telling you right now. So tough schedule ahead for the Saints, but it's doable. And after the Chiefs is the Buccaneers. But after that, it's pretty reasonable going forward. Not easy, but pretty reasonable going forward. It's still the NFL, and it was the Carolina Panthers. I'm not going to get too hyped on that, on the Saints beating the Panthers, but it looked good. It looked good, man. Everything flowed. It was nice flow to the offense. It was creativity. The defense, the Saints have a top 10, I'm going to say top 5 defense in the NFL. The Mario Davis, aging like fine wine. I mean, he out there his pursuit angles are good. Just Tyrann Mathieu had a forced fumble. That's no surprise to nobody. The Saints look good, y'all. And I'm trying not to get ahead of myself, but the Saints look good. I mean, really good. I mean, I watched some football. I'm watching the Cowboys now on my TV, and I was trying to see what Jaden Daniels is doing with the Commanders. And the Saints look the best to me today. So far in this early season, I don't think nobody played as good as the Saints played today. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to stop the Super Bowl talk. I promise y'all. I told myself I was not going to get on here and do this, but I find myself doing this. Saints look good. Saints look good. And I just brought up Patrick Mahomes. I seen this topic on ESPN today, and some of the other I seen on Fox. This was just a question floating around today. Can Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs three-peat and win their third straight Super Bowl? Why the hell not? You know, I didn't see nobody today said that they could do it. And I was like, has Patrick Mahomes not proved himself enough to y'all? I ain't gonna lie. I doubted Patrick Mahomes. That first Super Bowl, I said, okay, that's probably luck. Then he wins another one. No, actually, he skips a year, I think. Then he wins another Super Bowl. Now he's sitting on 3 Super Bowls. You think he can't win another one? Did y'all see them play the other day against the Ravens? Was it the Ravens? Yeah, the Ravens. Did y'all see them play against the Ravens? Did you see that wordy dude out of Texas looking like Tyreek Hill? Did y'all see the Chiefs? I just had to throw this topic up there today because I'm like, why are people doubting Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs? Why? Why are you doubting Andy Reid, who's been to multiple Super Bowls, won most of them, multiple playoff appearances, probably one of the best offensive play callers ever? Why are people doubting Patrick Mahomes? Let me know what y'all think in the chat. Why are people doubting the greatest human being, I think, to ever touch a football? Well, I know what you're saying, Ramon. It had a man named Tom Brady play football. Tom Brady was never as talented as Patrick Mahomes. Let's keep it a buck. Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady was never as talented as Patrick Mahomes. He had a nice system. He had a great system. He has a great arm. He has a great mind. But the intangibles, Patrick Mahomes got Tom Brady. And if he keeps playing on this level, he's going to pass Tom Brady in Super Bowls. And then we're going to be having another conversation about the GOAT. I think this is just silly. People, I'm telling you, everybody who's doubting Patrick Mahomes, good luck. I'm not doing it. If I have to place my money, I know I just beat on this table telling you that the Saints is going to win the Super Bowl. But if we got to face Patrick Mahomes in that Super Bowl, my money is going to be on the Chiefs. I'm telling you right now, my money is going to be on the Chiefs. I would not doubt Patrick Mahomes ever again. He's just too good. When you think you got him, you ain't got him. When you think you got him, you ain't got him. He got a sidearm throw for that. When you think you got this man, you ain't got him. I ain't never seen nothing like it. So it's just been silly today. I seen it on ESPN. I seen it on Fox. Yes, he can three-peat. I don't see nothing standing in his way. Unless a team like the Saints come along and just start playing. If the Saints continue to play like this, then look out. But like I told you, I'm not going to bet against Patrick Mahomes. Even against my favorite team, I'm not going to bet against Patrick Mahomes. Let me know what y'all think in the chat. Let me know what y'all think in the chat about that. But I'm not going to bet against that man. They always say, mama, there go that man. Patrick Mahomes, that's what they be talking about. You ever hear that term? They use that loosely. That term is for Patrick Mahomes. Mama, there go that man. And I just been sitting here laughing at people on TV. It's like, what are y'all talking about? Yes, he can win 3 in a row. And I think he's going to do it. Unless, like I said, unless the Cowboys find a way, we know what the Cowboys going to do. They beating the Cleveland Browns 30-10 right now. Look pretty good, but we know what they're going to do in the playoffs. We know what Lamar Jackson has done in the playoffs. No disrespect to him. But we know he seems to lower his play in the playoffs. We know what Josh Allen is in Buffalo in the AFC. A lot of unproven guys. Patrick Mahomes probably going to be in the Super Bowl. Now, who's going to come out of the NFC? We still going to see. It could be the Packers. Could be my Saints. Could be any. It could. I'm not even gonna say the Dallas Cowboys. They got to show me. But the NFC is for grabs. It's about Patrick Mahomes and whoever come out of the NFC. That's what's gonna be in the Super Bowl. It's gonna be Patrick Mahomes and whoever comes out of the NFC. That's gonna be the Super Bowl in New Orleans. That's gonna be the Super Bowl. So I don't know what people talking about. Can he three-peat? It's the top thing I heard Terry Bradshaw say. It's so emotionally draining. I said, this man ain't fazed by none of that. When I heard him say that, I know he done been in that situation. I understand. I never played in the NFL. I never played in the Super Bowl, but Patrick Mahomes is that Michael Jordan figure in the NFL. He gives no Michael Jordan vibes. Nothing fazed him. So it's just silly. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the chats. It's just silly to think Patrick Mahomes can't win another one. Come on. Like I said, it's going to be Patrick Mahomes coming out of AFC and whoever wins the NFC. That's who's going to be in the Super Bowl. The Chiefs and whoever the NFC brings to the Super Bowl. That's what's going to happen. I'm telling you now. We seen him beat Lamar Jackson week 1. Same thing's probably going to happen in the playoffs. We know what Lamar does in the playoffs. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. So can Patrick Mahomes do a three-peat? Absolutely. That's just silly to say, to be honest with you. It's silly. It's silly. But if you just joining me, y'all, all the scores are at the bottom of the screen from week 1 of Louisiana high school football. All the scores are at the bottom of the screen. The game of the week was Independence versus LaRondra. LaRondra got the win 36-6. Like I said, shout out to all our guys in Tangipahoa Parish who goes out there and put it on the line every night for their school. Like I said, a lot of these guys train at Miami Fitness under Coach Fleet. Coach Fleet joined us earlier and discussed Tangi football. And so I'm getting ready to wrap things up. So y'all let me know what y'all think in the chats. I got Josh Prima. Shout out to my boy Josh Prima, man. Chiefs and Lions Super Bowl. That's not far-fetched, Josh. That's not far-fetched at all. But I haven't seen the Lions play yet. Has the Lions played? Let me check and see if the Lions has played already. Oh, so they're going to be prime time tonight. Prime time, we got the Detroit Lions versus the Rams. So we're going to see, Prima. We're going to see, man. That might not be far-fetched, but we got to see if the Lions can do this again. Because I think like the Cowboys, I think the Lions are kind of in the Cowboys conversation right now. You got to show me. I mean, the Lions ain't never won anything. You know, last year, was an anomaly, in my opinion. So I got to see if they can do it again. We're going to see tonight because the Rams still a good team. They still got a good coach in Sean McVay. So we're going to see what the Lions can do tonight, Prima. So I don't know about that one, man, but it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, like I said, if they have that same type of running game from last year, if they can get the same type of quarterback play, I think they can do it. Jared Goff is probably top 10 in the league right now, in my opinion, at quarterback. So we're going to see. We're going to see. I don't know about this, but it's going to be Patrick Mahomes and whoever shows up from the NFC. That's the Super Bowl right there. I put money on that right now. Just who's coming out of AFC? It's going to be Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. So this question about can they three-peat, who's stopping them? Who's going to stop Patrick Mahomes? Show me who's going to stop Patrick Mahomes. If you show me who's going to stop Patrick Mahomes, I'll go put my money on FanDuel right now. Right now to win the Super Bowl. So, and I don't think it's going to be the Lions. I'm sorry, Primo. He said, you're preaching fast. Yeah, I mean, man, listen, bro. I told you, like, I thought that first Super Bowl that Patrick Mahomes won, I thought it was a fluke. I thought they got lucky. I said, okay, we're going to see. And then they didn't go back that next year. And then he comes back and wins it the following year. And he won 2 straight. So, the question was asked, can he three-peat? Absolutely. What's stopping them? They look better than they did last year. I think they did. I think their defense might be a little better. Can't nobody stop that defensive tackle, man. Jones, I can't think of his name, but the D tackle for the Chiefs, can't nobody stop him. I know his last name is Jones. I can't call his first name right now. But can't nobody stop that dude, man. Like, I don't know. Their defense look good. Offense look good against the Ravens the other night. They got to show me, man. They got to show me. They going to have to show me. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Make sure y'all follow me on YouTube. That's NOTL Mon on YouTube. Please like, share, subscribe, and share this live. If you are watching this live right now, whether it's on Instagram, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's on Facebook, please like, share, and subscribe this live to help us out with the audience. Shout out to everybody who does tune in to the show. You appreciate it. Like I said, I do apologize. Chris Jones, that's his name. Chris Jones is the defensive tackle for the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, he look like the best defensive player in football right now. Shout out to Josh Prima in the chat. Always been a supporter of the show. Shout out to all the supporters, man. Like I said, leave me your comments. Even if you don't watch this live, or if you're a little late to the show, leave me a comment. And even after the live, I get with you. I promise you, I am kind of busy. YouTube is, screaming is not my main job. So I do have a job. So I do that job. So as soon as I can get to you, I will. But shout out to everybody that's watching. Shout out to all the supporters, man. Shout out to Josh Prima in the chat. Shout out to MJ Jordan. Shout out to MJ. Shout out to Miss McCraney. Shout out to Coach Buckles I seen here earlier. And I Hammer High Tornado. Shout out to Johnny. Hammond will beat Amy Friday. Johnny Jackson stamped and approved. He said that Hammond will beat Amy on Friday. If you are a fan of football, if you are in Tangipahoa Parish or any of the surrounding areas on the North Shore, Hammond versus Amy is going to be a show. It always is. Great athletes on both sides. 2 great coaches on both sides. 2 teams that would do anything to win. Great athletes. If you joined the show earlier, I'm going to show this highlight of Hammond High's Bryce Carter. Let's check out Bryce Carter right here. Look how he reads and reacts. 21 for Hammond High School. He was our player of the week. Great technique, sound, playing Mike right there. You see him circle. We pause here. Read and react. You can see Bryce Carter read and react. He sees it coming. He takes a great angle on the football and finishes. He finishes. That was our player of the week for Tangipahoa Parish. Shout out to Bryce Young. I said Bryce Young. I'm so sorry. I'm still thinking about that Saints game. Bryce Carter. That's number 21 for Hammond High School. Shout out to Bryce Carter. He was out there laying that lumber. He is an athlete with Nayame Fitness under Coach Fleet, who joined us earlier. Shout out to Corey Webb that is in the comments. Shout out to Josh Prima. Shout out to everybody that's watching this live. I'm trying to get all you guys' comments before I end this live. Like I said, all the scores are at the bottom for the North Shore Louisiana High School Football Week 1. Did not disappoint. Game of the week next week is Hammond High versus Amite. I'm going to try to get as much coverage as I can for that game. like I said, if you are watching on Instagram, because I know all our high school kids who is probably my biggest audience on Instagram. If you are watching me live on Instagram, please send me your highlights. I will feature them on the show like I just did Bryce Carter. So shout out to all the Tangy athletes who, like I said, are out there putting it on the line for their teams, giving it everything that y'all got. But if y'all are watching this and y'all are a fan of the show, listen, I love you. Y'all are my biggest audience. I cater to y'all. So if you have highlights that you want me to post or you want me to promote, if you want me to get it out there on social media for you, if you think you're being under recruited, if you think that you are being overlooked, please send those highlights to me. I will put them on the show. You can take them, you can repurpose them, you can screenshot it, you can screen record it. I don't care. I'm not gonna come after you. This platform is for you guys, man. Shout out to y'all. So, please feel free to use my content. This is for y'all. So if y'all want to take, screen record this, cut it up, chop it up, do whatever, post it on your story, I'm all here for that. Shout out to Bryce Carter, who was our player of the week. He did send me his film, some great tackling, some great pursuit. Shout out to y'all. But like I said, I'm getting ready to end this live, y'all. We cover those LSU Tigers, won in Death Valley 44-21 over Nicholls. We also cover Coach Prime. I had some choice words for Coach Prime and the Colorado Buffaloes. I think criticism was just due. Like I said, I wasn't trying to beat up on Coach Prime, but if you haven't seen that, go back after the live and rewatch that part of the live. I did come at the Coach Prime a little bit out of love and respect. Like I said, Southern did get the win over Savannah State. That score is at the bottom as well. Shout out to HBCUs. And shout out to everybody that's on this live. Yeah, I'm getting ready to wrap it up. Thank y'all for tuning in for another episode, North of the Lake with Myron Rashawn. That's the new name I'm going by, is Myron Rashawn. I want to take the money out of it. I didn't want it to feel so monetary. So my new name I am going by is Myron Rashawn. And you can find us on Instagram. That's NOTL Podcast. Also on Facebook, I have another page. That's NOTL Podcast on Facebook as well. And on YouTube. Our YouTube is NOTL Mon. That's on YouTube. Please subscribe. Please share. Please repost. I thank y'all for tuning in. This is North of the Lake, Season 2, Episode 2. Who dat? Go Tigers. Go Tornadoes. Beat Amy. Thank y'all for tuning in for another episode. I appreciate y'all.